welcome to From Where We Are, a bittersweet From Where We Are. Stories of news and culture through the lens of USC and Southern California. I'm Stefan Guardia, chilling live in Studio B in USC's Annenberg Media Center.
And I'm Justin Hio. It's April 27th, and it's our last Wednesday show of the year.
Don't say that.
On today's show, students participate in a campus-wide walkout against sexual violence. The real reason behind basketball player Ethan Anderson leaving USC, urban farming in Compton's food desert, and our producers share their recent reporting on Ukrainian refugees.
Chock loaded with stories today. All that and more from Where We Are.
But first, these news headlines. Today, the U.S. Department of Justice announced that it will appeal Tuesday's ruling to lift the federal mask mandate on public transportation, including trains and planes.
Amidst the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war, former U.S. Marine Trevor Reed was released back to the U.S., reuniting with his family after 2 wrongful years under Russian detention. The terms of Reed's return was a prison swap in exchange for a Russian pilot who was facing a 20-year sentence in the U.S.
At a press conference on Tuesday, LA County Sheriff Alex Villanueva allegedly targeted LA Times reporter Aline Chekmedian over leaking a video of a deputy kneeling on a handcuffed inmate. Now, Villanueva, who is running for re-election, says that there will be no charges against the reporter. Those were some of today's top news headlines.
Content warning. The following segment contains mentions of sexual assault. Please listen at your discretion. Today, you may notice people wearing a bit more denim than usual. This is not the newest fashion trend, but rather a display of activism, a show of solidarity with survivors of sexual assault. Royce Epperson has more on the origins of Denim Day and USC's campus-wide walkout.
Why denim? In 1998, the Italian Supreme Court overturned a rape conviction due to the fact that during the assault, the victim was wearing tight jeans. The court believed that because the jeans were tight, the victim must have had to help her assailant remove them, which the court's eyes implied consent. The next day, the women in the Italian parliament wore jeans on the steps of the Supreme Court in protest of the verdict and in solidarity with the victim. Their activism caught the eye of nonprofit Peace Over Violence, whose mission is to build healthy communities free from sexual, domestic, and interpersonal violence. In 1999, the organization created the first Denim Day. Every year on April 27th, people are encouraged to wear denim to show support for sexual assault survivors and bring awareness to the notion of victim blaming. Since its creation, people all over the world make the point to rock their denim. Here on campus, USC student organizations are doing their part to support the movement. Earlier today, at the Bovard Auditorium, student organizations like SAGE, SSC, the Survivors Support Community, PAVE, the Promoting Awareness and Victim Empowerment, and USC Flow all sponsored the walkout. According to the organizations, the purpose of the event was to raise awareness of sexual violence, intimate partner violence, and gender and power-based harm at USC. Nationally, an average of 1 in 4 women have reported being sexually assaulted on college campuses. At USC, it's 1 in 3 according to a 2019 survey. Senior psychology major Elle de los Reyes said that she wants more from USC.
I would love just more accountability from administration and more action. Frankly, I feel like things have been very hands-off, and I think that they need to be more cutthroat with their policies and also just more adamant about their administration being careful and competent in what they do.
The organizations also presented a list of demands primarily aimed at the administration, such as suspending or expelling all fraternity members with open sexual assault cases and a reallocation of more funds to the USC survivor resources. Senior Natalia Paras is studying international relations as well as NGOs and social change. She is the president of USC Flow, an intersectional feminist organization on campus, and helped organize the event.
We're all here because we care about survivors first and foremost, so that's why we're doing this, and we want to see an actual cultural change, so we aren't going anywhere anytime soon.
Some other ways to participate today, and even beyond, include wearing jeans, a Denim Day button available at testing sites and entrances to the campus, spreading awareness via social media, or donating to organizations that provide support and programs to sexual assault survivors. Dylan Julia Cooper, a freshman studying theater and anthropology, explained her reasoning for participating in the walkout.
We have to keep fighting for the people that are tired of having to fight for themselves. No one should ever have to fight alone for an issue like this, and I think it's important that we work together.
If you would like to learn more about Denim Day and USC's relationship and sexual violence prevention and services efforts, you can find services in the USC Student Health Center. This center provides 24/7 advocate services to survivors of sexual assault and gender-based harm, along with other mental health support. For Annenberg Media, I'm Royce Epperson.
USC basketball star Ethan Anderson has led the team to NCAA tournaments and electric wins over major school rivals. This season, the team finished third in the Pac-12 with a 26-8 record. Now, Anderson is entering the transfer portal to find a new home. With 2 years of eligibility, Anderson is committed to one day becoming an NBA player.
Kobe.
Chelsea Hylton has more.
At USC, Anderson made headlines and became a fan favorite. He averaged 4 points, 2 assists, and 2 rebounds per game during this last season. However, many say that the Trojans did not perform as well as they should have or could have. They were eliminated in the first round of the NCAA March Madness tournament. Anderson needed to make a change and announced that he was entering the transfer portal.
Well, I sat down with the coaches coming into a meeting thinking that this was going to be home for me still, but they kind of mutually agreed in the terms of my unhappiness and the things that they thought that I lacked, that they just were kind of moving on in terms of I can stay if I want to, but we don't know what's going to really happen for you, and so I just decided that my worth was greater than that. And
the likes of TCU, Nevada, UC Santa Barbara, and even other Pac-12 schools like Cal, Oregon State, and Washington State pursued Anderson. But he knew he did not want to come back to Galen and face USC. Now, the million-dollar question is, why did Anderson decide on Wyoming?
I spoke with a lot of the teammates I'm going to have there, and they just expressed to me how much they wanted me, how much they needed me. And the word for me in this process was need. Like, I'm sure a lot of schools wanted me to come and be the player I was at USC, play defense, kind of orchestrate the game, but I wanted somewhere that needed me. So Wyoming expressed their need for me, expressed that with me they'd be this much better without.
Anderson will be joined at Wyoming by another former teammate at USC. Another USC forward, Max Agmangpalo, who also transferred around the same time as Anderson. The two first met and became teammates when they were 15 years old. The two went on an official visit and fell in love with Wyoming's facilities, coaching staff, and team culture. Even though Anderson will no longer be dressed in cardinal and gold, he says that USC and the fans still hold a special place in his heart.
The fan support that I got throughout these years has been amazing. I'm so happy that I got to see the fan attendance and stuff grow throughout the time I was here. I think me, Isaiah, and Max, we're like the most winningest players in the program history in terms of percentage, and so that's huge for me being from here, and that's huge, and that's a real thanks to the fans, because in college basketball, fans can win or lose your game because of how loud they are and the support.
Anderson will spend his last 2 years of college basketball at Wyoming and has dreams of eventually ending up in the NBA. For Annenberg Media, I'm Chelsea Hylton.
I'm Stefan Guardia. We're glad you're with us From Where We Are.
And I'm Justin Hio. It is 9 minutes past the hour. Coming up, a Compton Farm plants seeds of change. And our producers talk about their recent reporting trip to the Mexico border. Stay with us.
Please stay. Please.
California supplies over half of the nation's produce, yet 1 in 5 of its residents grapple with food insecurity. Quinn White reports on how one Compton farm is working to plant seeds of change.
Good morning. How are you? Good. How are you? It's a beautiful Sunday morning at the local farm stand. It smells like freshly cut flowers and warm baked goods. The tables here are full of brightly colored fruits and veggies. Key limes and caracaras, Chinese eggplants and collard greens. It's an idyllic place to spend your Sunday morning grocery shopping for locally harvested produce. This is Alma Backyard Farms in Compton, a city considered a food desert. That means this neighborhood has limited access to affordable, nutritious food. Compton and other low-income neighborhoods have fewer grocery stores than wealthier neighborhoods. It's deeper than just good food for the folks here at Alma. Erica Cuellar, one of the co-founders of Alma Backyard Farms, says their group believes that building a healthy community starts from the ground up.
We really believe that we satisfy a deeper hunger, not one of just the stomach, but of the soul, the longing for community.
But the fact remains, there aren't enough grocery stores here. Try thinking about it this way. There are 1.2 million people in the greater southern Los Angeles area and roughly 60 full-service grocery stores. In comparison, the West Los Angeles area has about the same number of grocery stores, but half as many people. Food insecurity disproportionately affects Black and Hispanic communities. According to Feeding America, Black and Hispanic families experience food insecurity at nearly 3 times the rate of white families. Tracy Kirkland is a clinical associate professor in the Department of Nursing at the University of Southern California School of Social Work.
When individuals, families, and communities are food insecure, there's a potential increased risk in chronic disease.
In West LA, you can find Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, or Erewhon, providing, quite literally, the cream of the crop. But you're not going to find anything like that down in Compton. Here, your options are Food for Less, Smart and Final, or the grocery outlet. But since 2013, Alma Farms has been working to make farm-to-table produce more accessible to the residents of Compton.
And fresh squeeze, you see over there squeezing the orange juice. It don't get no fresher than that, right?
That's Journey Presley. She runs the bakery stand. She's been working at Alma Farms for over 3 years. Like a lot of people who work at Alma, she grew up in this community and now helps provide an oasis for this food desert.
We're able to provide the stuff to our community. It's a disenfranchised community over here.
Alma's mission is to provide those who have been recently released from incarceration an opportunity to give back to their community by teaching them hands-on skills in urban agriculture, carpentry, and landscaping, all while working to help bridge the gap of nutritional inequality.
In the process of gathering your oranges and your carrots and your kale, you're also being deeply nourished in a different way.
Erica Cuellar talks about how there's something special about this land, and you can feel it when you're here. The fresh air, the smell of dirt, and the excitement of being able to see where your food comes from.
And it's not just the food that they're gathering. In that process, you're building community. You're building friendships, you're building support.
Community farms like Alma have started to pop up across the country. Farms like this do far more than simply provide healthier produce. They provide an opportunity to create connections and support systems. Every other Sunday, Alma comes alive during its rush of customers, eager to cross their favorite goodies off their grocery list. Cuellar says supporting neighborhood farms like Alma fuels the spirit of the community.
You're not just buying a bundle of collard greens on Sundays. You're supporting this neighborhood farm. You're supporting this effort. You're supporting this local movement that will continue to feed not just Linda, who gets her collards and okra, but like Linda's grandkids who also partake in the classes that we offer for the kids, and feeding that mind and creating an appetite for change in the children is part of the process.
The Alma Backyard Farm Stand is open every other Sunday from 8 to 1 in Compton. You can find out more information at almabackyardfarms.com. For Annenberg Media, I'm Quinn White.
You're listening to From Where We Are. Coming up, our producers Polina, Cherezova and Wilko Martinez-Cachero join us to talk about their recent story about Ukrainian refugees in Tijuana, which aired on KCRW's Greater LA on Monday. You can continue listening on our YouTube live stream.
That's Annenberg Radio News on YouTube. The full version will also be available on uscannenbergmedia.com.
Хоча я в безпеці, але We can't sleep normally, Vika says. Although I get enough sleep, I'm still worried about those who stayed in Ukraine.
Wow, do you guys hear that? Right now, we are joined by the iconic Polina and Wilko.
Oh, hail. Oh,
finally.
Hail.
Yes.
Oh, hail.
Thank you for having us. I appreciate it.
We know everybody's just barking up the door trying to get you guys in, so we really do appreciate you guys coming in here today. But seriously, we want to know just kind of how your whole experience was in Tijuana. I mean, this was an incredible piece that you guys made, and it really resonated with a lot of people, and I think that like being able to just hear it here in the States, just getting the viewpoint of something that's so close to us. We just want to know how that was for you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much. We appreciate you saying that. So we just got like a call, or like one of our friends, a photographer here, said that he was going to go down to the border and he invited us to come. And we were like, yeah, it sounds like a great opportunity, great story to do. And so we went down to the border, and we first went to like this camp called Benito Juarez. Refugee camp, and when we arrived, there was like a sign that said that press can only come in for like 15 minutes or something. And so for us, we were like, okay, we came like right at the time when like you're supposed to end that or whatever, and we're like, oh gosh, we don't have any time. But we ended up coming in there, and I think it was just really crazy to see so many of these refugees there. And I don't know, Wilko, like
I think, I think you touched on it, Stefan, when you introduced us. I think our main goal really was, to bring something that's so far away, to bring it closer to home. Like we touched on it on KCRW, but all of these refugees are, or were at least, we can get into like the new changes now or later, but they were right on the doorstep of the U.S. and of Southern California. They're trying to cross in through the southern border into San Diego, and then in many cases, they're going up to Orange County, San Francisco. Some are staying in San Diego, some stay in churches, hotels for the night. You know what I mean? So I think something so far away, when you bring it closer to home and you make people care about the human beings behind it, sure, they might care about the conflict, they might care about it from a political standpoint, but once you really focus on the human element of it, on the emotions, on everything that they went through to get here, in a lot of cases, these were, multi-day trips. They're spending a lot of money just to come to the U.S., be with their family, all because of war back home. So I think that's really what we tried to convey, and I hope we did it justice.
And so for people who are listening, these are Ukrainian refugees, right? So what are they doing in Tijuana?
I mean,
they're basically, the thing is, right, they're all trying to flee war. And the conflict in Ukraine, or the war in Ukraine, I should say, it's led to the largest displacement of people in Europe since World War II. So you can imagine like the magnitude of it, right? In a lot of cases, it's easier, it's more straightforward to go to Europe. If I'm not mistaken, right now, Ukrainian refugees in the European Union can live and work there up to 3 years legally. In the US, they didn't really have that certainty. What they just wanted was to reunite with family. There's a large Ukrainian diaspora here in the US. Stefan, I'm sure you're familiar. So they just wanted to come, in a lot of cases, reunite with long-lost family members who they hadn't seen in many years. In our piece, we touch on this girl, Nastia. She's a makeup artist. She eventually ended up in Cleveland, and it was pretty cool because, we got to talk to her at Benito Juarez, like Polina said, got her Instagram, and like now we still keep in touch a little bit just to see how she's doing. So that's pretty cool.
And yeah, a crazy thing is also a lot of them, like, they can't speak English too. So it's just like their future here in the U.S. is very unknown. Like they don't know what they're really getting themselves into. And a lot of them talked about that too. And so, yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible. I do want to ask you guys, being their first person and seeing it, how did this change? Did this change anything about just the emphasis of this whole issue going on for you guys? And what do you guys have anything that you may want to say to the public that who may just not know, who may have not had that experience that you guys had?
It's a big question.
Yeah, sorry, it's a lot to unfold.
It's a good question. And I mean, I think for me, and I'm sure Polina can get into her experience in a second, I think it was reinvigorating in many ways. Number one, just from a journalistic standpoint, right? Like, USC is a great school. Annenberg is a great school. The media center is great. ARN is great, obviously. But at the same time, like, I'm trying to be out in the field covering things that really matter and really affect a wide variety of people. So to do that, in a way through Annenberg and then later through KCRW, to sort of have that agency to cover the topics that I want to cover and be able to express them in my own words, in Polina's own words, in Yannick, he's our photographer, in his photos. I think that was, for me, one of the biggest takeaways. But going forward, what concerns me are the new guidelines that the Biden administration imposed. I know that the goal on paper is to just make it harder to come through the southern border and easier to go through Europe. But, Biden promised at the start of this entire conflict that 100,000 Ukrainians would be in the U.S. No real plan as to how to do that. Right now, it seems like there's some sort of plan, but I feel like it's going to be very slow. The entire process is backlogged, which is why so many people went to Mexico in the first place. Now you're taking that away. You're trying to get them to come in through Europe. The entire process remains backlogged, if not more so, because more and more Ukrainians and Russians are trying to get out of that area of the world and come to the U.S. So I'm a little worried as to how that will play out.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think that's definitely one of the saddest part about this, because when we went down there, that hadn't been announced yet. And we only found that out on Friday, I think, which is when we had already pitched the story. And at that point, they were like, we need to get it out on Monday, because that's basically like, that's the day, that they'll be denied entry. So I think it's really sad in that sense. But yeah, I have to say, it was one of the most like eye-opening experiences for sure. Being out in the field is like, you can't get that really just in like just school, you have to be out there for that. And for me especially, like being Russian, I think like I had to really navigate kind of like this line between being a journalist and also like a human being, because a lot of them were sharing these like traumatic experiences. And I think like I experienced like people like crying in front of me or like hugging me, and I felt like I needed to comfort them and like be there for them too. But at the same time, I was also trying to be a journalist, so it was like something that I never really had to experience before, and so it was a big learning experience.
Wow, I'm just so happy for y'all that y'all have had this experience. Y'all got this out there. It sounds so educational. You guys are graduating this year. Is this something we are going to see more of? Are y'all? I want to know what y'all are planning on doing.
I hope so.
I hope so. In fact, I think so.
I think so too. Yeah, we always joke about how like if someone hires us, like they have to hire us as a package deal.
Hey, yes. Love that.
Yeah.
Y'all are the iconic duo, honestly.
So we appreciate you, Justin. We appreciate you.
Thank you guys so much. Seriously, it means a lot. And for those of you listening, check it out on KCRW. The story from Polina, Cherezova, and Wilko Martinez-Cachero about Ukrainian refugees in Tijuana. And the two of you deserve a plaque outside of Annenberg.
For real.
So, seriously.
Don't make it happen.
Not a plaque, a statue. Jeez. Yeah.
If you want to get a petition going, you know how to do it, Stefan.
All right, change.org. I'm going to start filling that out. All right. Well, that is all we have time for on today's From Where We Are. This show was produced by the two of you over there, Polina Cherezova, Wilko Martinez-Cachero, and Meredith McCabe over there in the producer's studio.
Polina Cherezova is our technical operator, and Derek Renfro composed our theme music. We're streaming live on KXSC. Follow KXSC at kxsc.org/listen and on YouTube at Annenberg Radio News.
Also, follow us on Instagram at Annenberg Radio and subscribe to From Where We Are on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you're looking for even more news, be sure to download Annie, Annenberg's news app. I'm Stefan de la Guardia.
And I'm Justin Hio. From all of us at Annenberg Radio, wherever you are, we hope you'll join us again for From Where We Are.
That was sad, man.
Aww.
This is bittersweet.
I'm gonna miss y'all.
Seriously.
Dang. I was hoping y'all would like...